And welcome everybody to the Fabio and Funk Formula One World Championship Review 2024, round 19, somewhere in the world. At the moment, I think we're in the USA. Is that right, Lucky?
We are indeed in the
We
good
are
old
indeed.
USA, the land of
Yeah,
the free and brave and
yes.
homeless.
Yeah, not necessarily exclusive or any by any means exhaustive.
Some
But
people do
anyway,
say that some people do say that America is actually in South America.
some people say that Central America is in South America. I
That
think that's
too.
what you mean to say. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think anybody says, even somebody as beneficent and wise as the Helmut Marko, who who referenced Germany in not him directly. Somebody referenced Germany in the race. Can you remember who that was? It's like Germany, they said to Max, didn't they? Is that right?
I didn't hear that.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, somebody referenced Germany,
Oh,
and
was it
yeah,
Hitler?
I don't think it was Hitler, but I
No.
think it might have been Marco Helmet.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
going to keep calling him Helmet just because it's funnier. Anyway, there we go. Hello, everybody. Let me just say hello. Hello to me. Hello, me. Hello, world. And luck from Lucky. Hello, Lucky. Hey, Fabio's here as well. That's great.
He's here. Hey.
And unfortunately, we have the main person in the show. Good evening, Bub. Good evening, Lucky, Fabio, and Simons. Thank you so much for recognizing that we're all here.
Good
That's
evening,
wonderful.
Bob.
Fabio says, ciao. Uh,
Was he going?
okay. Yeah. Always great to see you. I think the problem you've done there is you've confused the English language with something else. That's the problem. It's the problem you've done there. However, it. Oh, there we go. Just Bub comes back with Ickwise Fabio, sir. And what you've done there, Bob, is confused the German language with the Italian language. So there we go. Okay, that's fine. Enough
I mean,
joking around. Go ahead.
this is spoken by somebody, and I can't remember if it was you or Lucky that they just invoked Hitler after less than 3 minutes in the show. So yeah,
It was me. It was me. Don't you worry
yeah,
about
there you go. So yeah, carry
that.
on.
Don't you worry about that. No, somebody did
Yeah,
say it's like Germany when they were
yeah,
talking about strategy. I can't
yeah.
remember exactly who it was. Yeah. Considering Italy won, I don't think it was Ferrari. Anyway, yes, thank you. Appreciate the laughing this early in the show. Right, let's just get on with it because there is a lot to get through. First off, I will just say it was we had a sprint race weekend, and Lawson did real well. That's all I'm going to say about that. I can't. I couldn't be bothered with sprint races. They just bore me to tears. And I'll tell you why they bore me to tears, Fabio, because I know you're dying to know the answer to that. I can see it. It's written on your face. There you go. No, that's it. That's a man gagging to know. Um, and and the answer is because like the turbulence behind the cars have got so great again, the cars cannot follow each other within a second. That's the issue, right? And that's why sprint races are just going to be boring. Whoever gets into the first corner first wins the race. Congratulations.
Well,
Without the
there
yeah,
was
go ahead.
there was one sort of interesting thing uh, about the sprint race, and that was Liam Lawson and Fernando Alonso. Mr. Alonso got kind of uppity with Liam Lawson and called him an idiot,
He did.
and had a bit of a conversation with him, shall we say, uh, after the race.
He
But
did.
Lawson got his own back in the main race by overtaking Alonso and fucking off into the distance.
He did.
So
He drove very well this weekend, considering first weekend he had a penalty, so he qualified down the grid, and he just did well. I mean, what can you say? Like at one point, I really thought he was going to score serious points, but in the end, I think he just scored 1 point. Was it?
In the sprint race, he was like 16th or something, so it must have been their main race.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just going to check it now because Fabio's just made me laugh.
Yeah, he was 16th in the sprint race, and
16th. Yeah. And in the main race,
he was 9th. So you've got 2 points.
9th. 2 points, in fact, 2 points. So fantastic 10th. Let's say 10th.
No, we are 10 minutes in.
I give up. You're giving up, are you? You're just surrendering now in the face of massive British domination.
Yeah,
because we're in America. You know, the British always win when they're together with America.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, enough of the analogies. Let's get on. He got somewhere. He did well. That was my first point made without anybody commenting. So that's real good. And the second point I'm going to make is the main race was a lot of fun. And and we have an advert. Balls. Do you like shiny? Do you like shiny balls? If you do, just remember Manscaped. Manscaped is the name of the game for anybody who really wants to feel the breeze a little more closely, shall we say? Ladies, Moundscape. Moundscape's for you. Comes with a serious double-ended vibrator, which really gets to the heart and gets to the bare skin of what you want to remove. Okay, I think that's the advert done as well. So we were at COTA. I don't know if you're aware of that. We were at COTA, Circuit of Americas in Texas for round 19. And I don't think I can hold it out anymore because the adverts are finished. Okay. So away they went into for turn 1. Lando got away real well, about the same pace. He tried to cover the inside, but he just didn't do it aggressively enough. That's what it came down to. He got pushed wide by the ever wide pushing Max Verstappen, and he fell back to 4th place because in the same process, Charles Leclerc, the pastry, was like a whippet doing a cross back and got down the inside into 1st place. Sainz almost followed him through, but Max managed to get him out in the 2nd corner, and he fell into 3rd place. Then the 2 McLarens, then everybody else, who cares? Lewis started from the back and was out pretty much the 1st lap or 2nd lap. And what can you say? There you go. Very unstranded. He had a bad setup. I'm going to let Fabio talk about that because he knows more about it than I do. And Russell did pretty well coming through from the back as well. Then on the 1st lap, of course, Sainz tried to get past Verstappen and got pushed wide, ran off the track, decided to give the place up. And Verstappen managed to hold it there because you can't drive behind one of these cars around very fast corners like we have at COTA. So that then stabilized the position. Which kind of meant that I can now run at double speed, which is what Fabio recommended that I do. Okay. So basically, that was the main incident in the race until we got to the end. Everybody tried to make it to the first pit stop. Lap 3, of course, Lewis out. Bit of a yellow thing. A couple of people pitted, but not really anybody significant. And we went on with the race. That probably gave everybody an easy chance to get a one-stop race in. When they started again, lap 6, Charles Leclerc, the pastry, was in fact pasty, not like a pastry, and pulled away from Max Verstappen quite easily, really. He had the pace on him all day, and Max couldn't stay in his wing, under his wing, in order to get any places back. And I think the pace of the Ferrari was just too much. Lawson, as Fabio alluded to, did very well and made a good pass around the outside in lap 13 or something like that. No, lap 7. Russell then also started making moves. Got a 5-second penalty for pushing Bottas off. That obviously was going to come back later, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Colapinto did very well. Started overtaking both Stroll, or he ended up overtaking both Stroll and Alonso quite easily. And then we got to lap 26, where Verstappen pitted from second place and came out in 7th place, soon to make his way through the field. Norris also pitted, came out behind Verstappen, and at the end of the race, this is now lap 51, when they got into the thing, and Norris then made up a lot of places, or a lot of time on the back of Verstappen. By lap 52, he was ready to try to overtake him. Of course, that famous turn where Max pushed off Alonso, I think at 12, and was never able. Max pushed off Lando, and Lando overtook him outside the track limits, and therefore got a 5-second penalty. He didn't give the position back; he just pulled away, and that then left the race to finish a dominant Ferrari finish in first and second, and that left Leclerc in first place. Once he stretched into the lead at the first corner, that was it. There was no holding him back. Sainz 8 seconds back. Then Norris in third place on the road. Unfortunately, only 4 seconds ahead of Verstappen, which meant with his 5-second penalty, Verstappen came third. Norris came fourth. Piastri fifth. Russell, an excellent finish in 6th place. Perez doing Perez things, finishing back there somewhere, 7th. Hulkenberg still showing that car's got some pace. Lawson, an excellent drive, and then Colapinto in 10th place, another excellent drive to beat Magnussen. Alonso and Albon also didn't fail to show in this race. And that is the race review. As I say, it was Leclerc, Sainz, and then Verstappen on the podium. And I'm now going to pass it over to my colleague here. And I've got to just tell you a little bit about him. He's the man. He's from Europe. He speaks many languages, none of which I can understand properly. And also, his name begins with F. He likes that. He's got used to it. So let's hear it for the big F himself. The big F. Fabio. And he's writing something down.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
we go.
Yeah. So no, it was a very exciting weekend. Both the sprint race and the race, and even the qualifying were really good. I mean, at least they were really enjoyable, regardless of the result. It was technically was really interesting because it showed once more how those cars right now, they got a point of the season and in championship where they have a really narrow window of where they operate, where they're supposed to operate. Case in point, the Mercedes. Mercedes was all over the place. In the race, it did perform a little bit good with Russell. I mean, starting from the pit. In the sprint race, they were just lost. Hamilton had massive understeer. I think I can't remember if he ever beached so soon in a race in his career. So yeah, I mean, it was really weird. But regardless, it was surprising also because the fact of the Ferrari result. That is not a Ferrari track. I don't think they were expecting that kind of result ever. They made a very smart move. They sacrificed the qualifying in order to have a better setup for the race, which paid up. And I don't know. I mean, about the race, there were some things to me that were really really noticeable. First of all, the track, the tarmac has been the track has been resurfaced, so that probably threw off a little bit of data concerning the tires. The medium tires and the hard tires performed really well, especially medium tires, but also hard tires. The second thing, which was amazing, and I just wet myself a little bit at the start, how a massive genius Leclerc was. I mean, that start was fucking unbelievable. He knew exactly what was going to happen before the start of braking, mostly because that is what happened to him last year. So he knew exactly what Verstappen was going to do. He saw that Norris fucked up, surprisingly, starting from pole. Never happened. And he just pulled a maneuver which was amazing. He almost towed Sainz. He got caught a little bit, in between Verstappen and Norris in the first corner, but Sainz was almost there. So that was brilliant. I was screaming. The other thing, which maybe we can discuss a little bit later on, is the McLaren situation, and we've been saying that for quite some time, and I think it's a question which is still in the air. The fact that is Norris World Championship material right now? And also, I would say, is McLaren a World Championship team right now? I mean, they gave 5 seconds to Norris because of the overtake on Verstappen, which I think it was fair, by the way. And I have some images we could show later. But they didn't tell him that he had 5 seconds. So instead of telling him, push, get those 5 seconds, they just told him, I think 2 laps to the end, he had no time and he got 5 seconds and he missed the podium. Which, again, and there was also some really weird radio communication. They were positive that they had, they were stressing the fact that they wanted a Delta tire, in the pit stop between the McLaren and especially the Red Bull and the Ferrari, and they were positive that they had a 2 seconds advantage on the Delta tire, and that happened just after the last pit stop. And I was, trying to make some calculations, and no, that can't be it. I mean, it's not working like that. But still, it was. They were all over the place as a team. They pushed Norris. They gave him Verstappen as a target, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, Norris has to win the race. He doesn't have to beat Verstappen. He has to win the race. Then they gave him Sainz as a target. Then they gave him Verstappen as a target. They were all over the place. So yeah, I mean, that is the same question. Last point, and you tell me when, because I got some stuff prepared, is all the technical regulation that went on before the race. There was a little bit of kerfuffle, something coming from Baku concerning the wings, and then there was something new which McLaren, popped up, and I think it. I mean, to be totally fair, I don't think it was that massive, but they pointed out that somebody had something which was probably illegal, and they made something illegal, or they could have made something illegal. Nobody proved that. And all the blah, 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 blah. And it turned out it was Red Bull with the T-tray assembly, below the car. But, you tell me when you want to address that.
Yeah, we'll do that after Lucky's roundup.
Go ahead.
First. Go ahead, Lucky. As soon as you're ready.
What?
No pressure.
What? Okay.
No pressure. Please entertain us.
Entertain us. Okay, well, of course, like normal, I'd be starting off with the La Reportage de Logan Sargent, but we have a replacement for Logan, who is, of course, Franco Colapinto. Now, unfortunately, Franco Colapinto is a good driver and doesn't do anything stupid. So there's not really much to report on, to be honest. He was 10th and 17th, respectively, in the qualifyings for sprint and race. He finished 12th and 10th, respectively, for the two races, managing to pick up another point, which puts him how many points now ahead of Logan Sargent? 5, I think. And it's only taken him 3 races. So there we go. Logan Sargent replacement, doing so much better than Logan ever did. And of course, they can now afford to buy lunches at Williams because there hasn't been any cars crashed in the last 3 races to any great extent. So, yeah, he did indeed, Bob. I was going to mention that, but forgot about it. But anyway, moving on. I take it the whole of Italy stood up as one when Leclerc and Sainz finished first and second. Fabio, and as you said, this is a win at a track that is completely different from Monza. What do you think has brought about this change in Ferrari, Fabio?
Sorry, what did you say? I was writing. Sorry, I was a little bit absent-minded.
Okay, I'm saying that Ferrari have now won at Monza and they've won at America. But these, as you mentioned, are completely different tracks.
Yeah.
Why do you think that Ferrari's now just got the bit between the teeth, let's say?
Well, I think it's a series of factors. First of all, it seems to be that they really found something as a team. It's not by chance that the guy which went on the podium with Charles and Carlos is actually the tactician, which, if you remember, was a really weak point beginning of last year and beginning of the season. So they recognize that. Second thing is that I think they worked a lot, even in the pits. The pits were not that good, while these ones were quite exceptional. I mean, really, really good. And the third thing is, I think that the updates that they brought, they really work well, and I think that they worked way better than they thought it would, and that is shown by the fact that they didn't bring anything major in Texas, nothing special, but they actually worked really well. So I think it's a general improvement of the team. Right. Yeah, it's the sum of the parts.
The whole package, then, basically the whole team plus the car has come together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, the two Ferraris were the raciest cars on the track yesterday. Carlos Sainz entertained us until Hamilton went off and spoiled the racing with Max Verstappen. I mean, that was the most exciting first couple of laps for a Grand Prix that we've seen in a while. Opportunistic pass by Leclerc. I think they both deserved first and second. We're going to have to talk, I guess, about the penalty. Do we want to do that separately, or what do you think?
No, you can go for it if you want. I mean, or you can finish up and then we'll talk about it, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, let's finish up. What else happened? Poor Lewis Hamilton. That's 2 weekends in a row that have been less than Lewis Hamilton-ish. But what a weird crash. Same place that Russell went off on the qualifying. Yeah. I mean, the back just went on that car. It was no warning or anything. It snapped round and he was gone. So, yeah. and his radio message back to the team was, "I'm sorry, guys," and that was it. It was a really strange sort of weekend. I'm just wondering if maybe Lewis has just thought, right, okay, let's get the end of this season over and we've got a new start at Ferrari. Maybe that's maybe the case. He's just he hasn't got any motivation for a Mercedes car, especially when they had that replacement guy in the garage all weekend looking over his shoulder. I mean, that wouldn't have done his morale much good, I don't think. What else happened? I mean, apart from the ridiculous penalty that Norris got, I really can't think of anything else. So if you want to move on, that's fine with me. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I mean,
just real quick, Odin saying that she, or he rather, can't find any GT racing. YouTube is absolutely full of GT racing. It's full of it, live events. Excuse me, if you can't find GT racing, there's something wrong with your search engine. But there's
so
any number. I've come and switched my computer on a Sunday morning and found 4 different championships from around the world, all streaming live on YouTube. Rather. So you'll find it.
Yeah. So about the penalty, I think that the only one which was quite weird, but I haven't found any pictures about that, was the one that they gave Russell against Bottas. I think that the one that they gave Norris was actually deserved, and here's the reason why. So let me share this image, and I hope that Simos is still here. So basically, the rule at COTA, especially on that corner, said that whoever was ahead at the apex had basically right of way, right? And this is the moment that Verstappen passes Norris, and Verstappen is ahead at the apex. So he was right. And I agree with you. You know, when I saw it, I was kind of puzzled. You know, Samus knows it too because, you know, we're exchanging, you know, messages and all that stuff. But I watched it again, and I mean, that was a very specific rule that they made basically for that track and that corner, even if it's part of a general rule that whoever is ahead of the apex, you know, has basically right of way. So in that instance, I think that, and again, we're going back to what we said before. I think that in McLaren, to be on the safe side, even mostly because, you know, Norris was was faster than Verstappen at that moment. They should have either told him, you know, to carry on and get 5 seconds because they were going to happen, or just give him back the position. And I think at the time he still had something like 6 or 7 laps to work with. So he might have done it.
I think it was only a couple of laps, I think.
No. 2 laps was when they told him that he had a 5 seconds penalty.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think I don't know about 7 laps, but I think it was more on the 5 or 6 laps. But yeah, but you know, stuff like that.
Anyway. I think it happened on lap 53. Lap 52. So it was 4 laps. Yeah.
So yeah, they had 4.5 laps. Maybe.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, that's all good.
Yeah.
This particular picture, that particular picture, sorry, was a little what's the word I'm looking for here? A little misdirected or it didn't give all the details. When you look at it from a helicopter view or the overhead view, you actually see that although Verstappen is ahead at the apex, clearly, like we both said, his car is not pointing anywhere near trying to take the corner still.
That's what I thought.
And he's at the apex, and hang on a minute, I know what you're going to say, and let me just get through it. And I don't think we're going to disagree here. But like I'm saying, his car is not pointing at this particular moment like he's even going to, like he's ready to turn. He's still braking as hard as he can in order to try and get around the corner. He hasn't even started turning the wheels for the corner. And if you're at the apex and you're not even turning the wheels, that says that there's a problem. That's the first point. And you have to wait till I get to the end. I know you want to jump in, but I need
No,
to
no, no. I'm
finish it all
fine. I
out.
mean, yeah.
Because I have a massive twist at the end of what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
No.
on top of that, it was clear that he braked a lot later than he did any of the previous laps. So he was not intending to make the corner here. And that's what McLaren are basically saying. Look, he drove off track. He couldn't make the corner. That's how out of control he was. And yes, he pushed Lando wide. But maybe it shouldn't have been a penalty for the reason of they were both wrong, and that maybe should have cancelled out. Now, clearly, that's not what the FIA thought. Clearly, the FIA thought that Lando did break the rules because he overtook off the circuit, which is against the rules. But there's also a rule, right, which says you cannot force somebody off the circuit, okay, if you yourself cannot get on the circuit. If you can't keep on the circuit and you force someone off, right, that's against the rules, and that takes a penalty, right? And this is what they're saying, right? So basically, what should have happened here, in my personal opinion, is both of them should have got a penalty, 5 seconds each. There you go. In that case, and I think that Lando would have fallen back in front of Piastri, and Verstappen would have fallen back behind Piastri. Because they both broke the rules. They both broke the rules.
Can we agree on one thing, guys? That if Norris hadn't gone off the track, there would have been an accident. Would we agree with that?
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. But a couple of things. If there was an accident, I mean, Norris knew he had most to lose, right? So it's the same.
Agreed.
It's the same Senna Pro situation, right? So
Agreed.
So if you got more to lose, you got to act accordingly. That's it.
Yeah.
You just. The other thing is that technically the rule says that it doesn't say that you cannot push anybody out. I mean, or at least that is not exactly the rule which applies. The rule which applies is that you've got to give the other person space, which I understand it might seem the same, but it's not really. And the thing is that, and I'm not saying I agree with the FIA or not. I'm just saying, what the rules are at the moment, right? And we can discuss about that if you want. The thing is that the moment you are ahead at the apex, and the fact that the track here is that wide, forget about trajectory. I know that nobody can turn over there because it's not the right trajectory. But technically there is space. So what Norris should have done in that instance, and keep in mind, it's true that Verstappen braked really late, but Norris was no slouch. He was defending, so he was braking deep too. What Norris should have done was to let Verstappen go ahead because he had space. At that moment, it was already overtaken, and that was it. So again, it's a little bit tricky,
I actually, in hindsight, agree with that statement for the two reasons that we said at the time, which is, look, that's Verstappen's MO. That's what happens, and da-da-da. However, the thing I'm pointing out is that if Norris would have given the place back, then the stewards could not have penalised him for gaining an advantage and overtaking off track, which leaves the only offence left, which was Verstappen forced another car off track without being able to stay on track himself.
Yeah.
Right? And that would have been a penalty to Verstappen. Should have been 10 seconds because that's what they've been talking about recently. They have to have extenuating circumstances to give her 5 seconds. And when you go into the extenuating circumstances as to why, right, either of these guys or anybody in this race got a 5-second penalty, they're all completely bloody ridiculous.
Do you want me to say that?
But say what?
World Championship material? Do you want me to say
Yeah,
that?
we're gonna have to go. I want to get Lucky because like we've just talked back and forth a bit.
Yeah,
Lucky,
yeah.
Lucky, what's your take on it?
No, but I agree with you. I'm not saying
Yeah, of course we agree.
Just
Of
say,
course we agree. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're both tifosi. So yeah, grazie tutti. World
Francis
Championship.
Rossi.
Yeah, Chippy.
Okay,
Yeah.
my question to you is: do you think that this was Verstappen out of control, or do you think this was a deliberate move by Verstappen to force him out?
Oh no. Verstappen knew exactly what he was doing.
Always did
For a
it.
lot, I mean, it was, but he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that among the two, he had less to lose because if the crash, fuck it, right? I mean, it's -1 race to the end of the championship. So yeah, that's it. And the second thing is that he knew exactly how the rule worked in that corner. So he did everything he could just to get in front of the apex. And I understand Zach Brown say, "Oh, but he couldn't make the corner." Yeah, but if he couldn't make the corner, tell your driver to brake. And as Simon said, he goes out, and that's it. He has to give back the position. Problem solved. So he knew totally what he was doing. And I tell you one thing more. 2 seconds. Verstappen has changed a lot ever since he won the championship against Hamilton. Verstappen, to me, looks more like Lewis Hamilton than what he used to be, as Verstappen. He's scraping every point, even in difficult situation. He's doing exactly what Lewis has been doing ever since he's won his first championship. He's just, getting all the points, all the chances. Is way more cool, way more level-headed. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lucky.
I'm kind of torn in this one. I mean, Jenson Button, he was talking about this, and he was sort of livid about the fact that Norris had got a 5-second penalty, and he felt that it was a racing incident, and it should have just been left as it was. Now, look at the very start at how Verstappen forced, again, Norris off the track. Now, everybody says, because it's the first corner, we give them a bit of leeway, they can get forced off, no problem, and we won't give any penalties for doing that. Okay,
yes.
But here we are on lap 53, okay, and he's done exactly the same thing.
No.
Okay, now they're awarding penalties or actually are going to award a penalty for something exactly the same, and it just doesn't seem right to me.
It's not the same.
It might be within the letters of the law, but it just doesn't seem to be within the spirit of spirit.
Yeah, but listen, it's not the same. And the thing is that this is something which is well established and well spoken to everybody, and it's in the rules. We're going to give you a little bit more leeway in the first lap, and then there are some rules which apply to some sector of the track and all that stuff. It's something that they talked about it, they know about it. So, and I mean, it's not that I don't understand Jenson Button. Even with Simon, when we were watching the race, we were a little bit skeptic about, are they going to give it a thing or not? Because it was really hard to, especially with the images they were showing, it wasn't that clear. So I understand if Button said it after the race, but if you really, analyze, what happened, that was the outcome. There was nothing to do.
Agreed. Like I think this is. I just want to say a couple of things on it, and then hopefully get off the topic as soon as you guys are ready to. After that, which is firstly, like Fabio has been saying for a number of shows now, Norris is not ready to be a world champion. That's just a fact of it. He's making too many mistakes, even if they're tiny, tiny mistakes. That's all that's needed in a Formula One because the margins are so small. And simply world champions that these days, probably since Schumacher, really, can't make any mistakes. Schumacher probably made 2 or 3 mistakes in a season and was able to win from there. Nowadays, Lewis has gone like, maybe one mistake in a season, and he's really upset with himself. On his best years, he doesn't make any. So and then Max, like last year, not a single mistake. I mean, not even a hint of a mistake last year. 2023 season was just all dominating. Yeah, perhaps he got unlucky a couple of times, but that was about it. No mistakes. So I think that's the thing. Norris again had a good chance today, right? And or yesterday rather, he had a good chance to do some damage to Verstappen, and he didn't choose in that split second the right move. His instinct was right. Give the place back. Give it back straight away. I've still got a tyre advantage. If I don't overtake him, I can argue the toss that he forced me off the circuit. That should have been McLaren's idea. Like, it's from the off. Look, were you ahead at the apex? No. Therefore, there's a doubt. Therefore, we hand it back and we argue the toss later. And that would have, in hindsight, probably been a better result. I mean, maybe if the FIA are just biased, like we often say they are towards Red Bull, it wouldn't have made any difference. If it wouldn't have made any difference, why not try it? Because one thing is true, is Verstappen, by driving the way he did at that particular moment, did break the rules. There's no ifs, no buts about it. And the only reason that he's got away with it, as far as I can see, is because there was a more egregious rule breaking by Lando. Right? And if they punish them both, then Verstappen, Verstappen's the one that is paying the bigger penalty. They couldn't make that decisions, and that's what I'm disappointed about. McLaren messing up and telling Lando, "No, your instinct's wrong. You were ahead at the apex." There's no way he was ahead at the apex. That was a blank lie by the engineer to Lando. Once again, they've said one thing to him on the radio, which isn't true, and that never happens with Max.
Maybe it's because they have to keep him cool, and it's a mind game. And I agree with you. I just give you a little bit of data, how many points the drivers made after the Dutch Grand Prix. Okay, so Lando Norris made 98 points from the Dutch Grand Prix. Leclerc made 98 points, the same number of points as Lando Norris, and Lando Norris is the one which, he has to fight for the championship. Piastri made 80 points, 80. Verstappen made 77 points. Then we have Sainz 53, Russell 51, Hamilton 27, and here's the good thing. Perez from the Dutch Grand Prix made 19 points. Now, keep in mind the car that they're driving. Norris made 98 and Piastri made 80. Verstappen made 77 points with a dog of a car, up until, yesterday, basically. And Perez made 19. If that is not a mind game, I don't know what the fuck it is.
Okay, and Lucky. Finish up on this topic.
Well, I think we can all agree that the team made a serious error in not telling him just to drop back. Because, I mean, he was looking pretty good. He would have, I think, got Verstappen at some point before the end of the race. So I think the playing it safe move, as far as that incident is concerned, would have been a better strategy for McLaren. But in the heat of the moment, as you said, they told him he was ahead at the apex. But yet, as soon as he got himself over the line, the first thing he says was, "I should have dropped back."
Yeah.
So I think the team needs to take a bit of responsibility for that. Because, I mean, what does he know apart from his driving? He doesn't know what's going on outside the car. So they had to keep him right, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, no, that's a problem. I mean, that goes to show that he's not a world champion when you say that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like Lewis does rely on his team a lot. He expects them to tell him the truth at all times, not sugarcoat anything, and just give it to him straight. And they don't always at Mercedes. That's some of the I think frustration that he's been having in the last year, and that's why again it's a good sign for the future that he's going to Ferrari, who Leclerc have taught, right, through these difficult radio communications. Leclerc has taught them, right? Just to say, look, I'll make the fucking decisions, right? You just give me the fucking information. And like having Lewis there, and he's going to benefit hugely from that kind of attitude from the team radio, because like team radio is fucking things up, right? And I would prefer under these situations that we have now to go back to the old days where team orders were banned, right? I know they weren't, but at least we had the pretense and the show, right? That they couldn't just come on to the radio and go, all right, this is all going to happen at turn 5. Make it happen, you know?
Yeah, but you see, I mean, team orders are given if the driver cannot, make any decision by itself.
Yeah.
I mean, they asked Leclerc which plan it was going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he said no, B is better, maybe C, whatever. When they spoke to Norris, they asked him, "Oh, how do you feel the tires? What do you think is better? Is better plan A or plan B?" I mean, fuck it, I mean, the plan. Say, you got to tell him, listen, we think B is better. And the guy says, no, the tires are good, let's go for A. And that's it, end of the conversation, But it's, okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
So should we go with the technical things
Yes,
a little
please.
bit? Because,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Let me introduce
Yes.
it. Okay. Well, you get your bits ready. Okay. So
Yeah.
we're now just going to talk about the regulation problems that have been going on in the FIA recently. Needless to say, the T tray, which first was rumored to have a problem, not saying which team it was, and then eventually the team that it was came out and said it. There's a lot of nuance in this story. Let me just say that. And, I myself love a good tea tray story because, I'm British, so we like tea trays. Thank you. And hopefully, I can't see anything to share yet. But, okay.
Yeah, hold on a second.
I'm
Coming.
holding. I'm filling. Don't you worry.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're now going to talk about the tea tray, and we're just going to pass that over to Fabio for a few minutes, probably 20 at this rate.
Yeah, maybe less. So we're going to talk about two things.
Fabio, your time started, Fabio. Just to let you know that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, can you present the screen, at least?
Yeah, certainly. I'll do that in about 2 seconds. 1, 2.
Okay, so we're going to talk about two things which happened in the weekend. Some clarification on the rules, and one, let's start with the wings before. Strangely enough, the McLaren wing doesn't flex anymore. How incredible it is. We saw on all the wings they put these dots so that they can have a way more precise data on how the wing moves, and that was on all the cars. This is the Ferrari rear wing. That's the Mercedes, of course, the Red Bull, and the Williams. So they're all covered with these dots, and so when the car goes, you can actually see what's moving and what not. So apparently there's been, I don't know. So my impression is that they told McLaren, listen, that is against. I know that when the car is stopped, we measure and it's okay, but it's again the spirit of the rule. You better do something, fix it, because you're going to be way more strict and blah, 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 blah. And that happened, that happened to all the cars. They put all these, dots to gather data. So the wings are not flexing anymore. That is one thing which happened in Texas. The other thing was the T tray. So McLaren came and said, "Listen, there's somebody which is not really working really well the way it's supposed to be working. Blah 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 blah. Let's do something about it." So first of all, what is the T-tray? The T-tray is this area here, is the foremost part of the floor, and right about here there is like a piston which fixes the how much the T-tray is close to the ground. There is a rule in F1 that you cannot change anything on the car, like nothing on the car, between the qualifying and the race. And what McLaren accused Red Bull to do is to have a system where they could actually move this part in the Parc Fermé, so when they were not supposed to do anything, and that could happen from inside the car. This is the affected piston. There is a piston here which pushes down the T-tray. And according to McLaren, Red Bull has a system that allows them, to move that, while they cannot move the car. Two things. The federation, looked into it, and I got a video I'm going to show you in a second. This is a system that all the cars have. It's not something specific to Red Bull. This piston is here for all of them, right? The thing that Red Bull was accused to is that they can move it when they shouldn't, specifically from inside the cockpit, which is something that happened in the 1890s. You could move the torsion bars from inside the cockpit. That is not allowed. So this is not a part that only Red Bull has. All the cars have it. And that was the accusation. McLaren wasn't able to give proof that happened. This is why I think it was more smoke and mirrors, because I think the main problem was the wing, not the T-tray. So they had to play the game of, but what about that, right? So it didn't really work, a lot for Red Bull, mostly because Red Bull has had issues with the car, in the last Grand Prix, and in this one it was actually going faster. So I don't know, which is not what happened with McLaren, by the way. But that is another thing. So I have a video. If you hold on a second, I
just want to say about that last picture then while you're doing that. And if you notice, everybody, it's probably true that something was going on because there was a massive green arrow.
Yeah. There is that. No, you're right.
That always means something significant. So just to say.
So this is what happened. We have some FIA officials, and there is a mechanic in Red Bull, which, it's really funny because, okay, I work in this kind of environment, right? And there is one thing I can tell you, not 100% it happened, but I'm pretty sure that the mechanic in question is showing them how they regulate, that piston. And my impression, and I might be wrong about it, no problems, but my impression is that the mechanic is making the things a little bit more difficult than they should be, is putting way more effort into doing that operation than I think they do. But yeah, I mean, this happened before the race, and it's a 2-minute video. We can stop it, anytime you want. So he's showing the guy, this is how we do it, from the outside. You see, we got to dismantle the car, and now the guy, which is, is trying to see if he can see what happens from the cockpit, because he wants to be sure that what he's doing cannot be done inside the cockpit. And at the end of it, I think they asked them, to do something, a little bit safer, just, to put some wire, to see that nothing happens. But they were pretty much okay that, that wasn't the case. But, they had to investigate anyway. So he's telling me, there is a bolt there, and it's really difficult. Yeah. You see, you got to get out of the car.
They can reach it. There's no way they need all of those extensions on that socket extension, right?
Well, yeah, maybe it has a torque spec or stuff like that. But
Well,
you know,
yeah, but do you need all the extensions on it? Because that looked dodgy.
no,
as fuck.
that is exactly the reason why I said,
Yeah.
my gut feeling is that they're making it a little bit more complicated than they actually do.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's part of the show. I think they
of course it is.
again, it's a part that all the cars have, but also that part is known to all the teams because the designs are public.
You're right, absolutely right.
So I mean, really,
Zach said about it. Look, all the teams have got it. That's not the problem. It's just that all the other teams can't access it from within the cockpit.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Now, if that isn't accessing it within the cockpit, what he's doing right now, that's not what he's kind of meant. So again, Red Bull, of course, they're not going to show you that they can do it from inside the cockpit, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're showing, yeah.
But also, they're not going to show you that they can do it from inside the cockpit. But if you say to me that they can't develop a tool to do that, right, then I'm a little bit surprised. Number one, and number two.
Well, number two, the tool should be in the cockpit, which it isn't, because it's not there. Right?
That doesn't mean anything, though, does it? That doesn't mean
the rule said that you weren't allowed to use a tool. That was part of the rules.
No, I don't think so.
No. It just said that you can make any modification from that. That's it. So
no,
yeah,
I'm just saying, if that's the case, then also the fact that it's accessible through that. Right, and then they're saying that they had to take the pedals out as well, just to put that in context.
Yeah.
But that guy clearly reached down to the screw, which meant you just did not need that particular tool to go and do it.
No,
now, hang on.
Yeah.
But even if it is, you need something to torque stress it, right? You don't need that particular tool to do it necessarily with all the extensions on, etc., etc. So I'm just saying, I don't believe that is the way. They actually officially is the most efficient way to change that particular setting. All right.
So yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. That device is on all the cars, right? Okay. So
we said that.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. So that's the first point.
Yeah.
So every car has its own way to regulate that device.
Indeed.
Second thing. And third thing, I don't see any problem in reaching that, from the top or on the bottom, whatever. So, I mean, there must be a way where you can reach that, okay? So, I mean, they showed him how to do it, and that's it. But unless McLaren has photographs of a mechanic in the Parc Fermé that they're taking off, whatever the fuck, or they're working on the car in that area to do that, that's not really something that they should be, screaming and shouting about, because of course they can regulate that. And of course on the Parc Fermé, they cannot regulate that. So the question is, do you have pictures of somebody doing that or not? Not that you cannot do it. So that to me was really weird. But anyway, I just want to end, with this poison in the tail. So the McLaren wing is not flexing anymore.
Nope.
The T-tray, whatever, has been fixed. Supposedly has been fixed. I don't think it needed.
Yeah.
And Ferrari was the fastest car on a track which is not Ferrari.
Yeah.
Let me be even more, evil. In 2019, everybody screamed and shouted. Well, not everybody, Mercedes, but mostly screamed and shouted of something illegal on the Ferrari engine. Ferrari had to make a compromise. Nobody ever proved there was nothing wrong.
100%.
First of all, okay, nobody. They had to came with an agreement with the FIA. They probably twisted a little bit, but they were safe. I mean, because nobody was proving that.
Yes.
And they had. And they actually, I think that they took away points or whatever, like that thing. Now it's the other guys, but they keep the points. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
I agree with you.
I'm just leaving it there.
This is the bias I'm talking about. So let's just address the elephant in the room. McLaren said straight away, yeah, our wing's bending. It's within the rules. It follows the thing. And then the FIA said, oh, look, everybody else is going to complain and develop bending wings. Could you mind taking them off? Would you mind taking them off, please?
Yeah.
And McLaren said, yeah, no problem. Right? Why? I don't know. But they said yes. So,
well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry interrupting you. It's so I think it's a little bit different. And explain
okay.
to you. No,
go on then.
No, I'll tell you why, and then you can tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I will.
So when the thing with Ferrari happened,
yeah,
there was no
proof.
Well, no proof, but there was also no technical bulletin issued about the alleged thing that they found or they didn't on the engine.
Very much like the McLaren situation.
Okay. No. Let me finish for a second. Just for a second.
Yeah.
With McLaren, they told them it's against the spirit of the rule, whatever. But the difference with McLaren is that not only they told them not to do that, but they issued a technical bulletin, and they also put all the dots on the wings, as I showed you before.
Yes.
So with McLaren, they changed the rule.
Yeah, they had a technical directive. Yeah.
So the thing which I'm puzzled is did they change the rule because it was contrary to the spirit of the law? And if it's true, I'm not saying that was strictly illegal, but it was way more illegal than whatever the fuck they didn't find in the Ferrari engine.
Right. Okay. Two things then.
So,
firstly, right, even if that's the case, it doesn't matter. Exactly the same thing happened. Somebody pointed a finger at Ferrari and said, we think it's this. The FIA went and checked it. Ferrari said, it's not that, but we can do something about it to make sure that this regulation is we are definitely complying with this regulation. Even though we're not breaking it right now. It's not illegal. We can see that it might not be within the spirit of the engine regs. So I think it was like a pressure thing, wasn't it? And then the technical directive came out after that to make sure that Ferrari would, and no other engine manufacturer could do that. Why? Because Ferrari found a genuine break in the spirit of the rules, which was not in the letter of the rules. There was nothing illegal done, but it gave them an advantage. Right? Hang on.
If you can prove
hang on. And more importantly, the reason the technical directive came out after that was because the secret was out to the other manufacturers and they didn't want them doing it. Right? This is a typical thing because it drives costs of the engines up. Ferrari spent a lot of money making that change, right? And they did not gain the benefit from it. Right? Now, on a much lower scale, right? They did gain some benefit. And I think they were wrong to take the points away as well, by the way. If that's actually what happened in the circumstance, I can't quite remember. But if that is the case, they were definitely wrong. With the McLaren one, McLaren came straight out and said, yeah, the wing is bending. There's no doubt about that. But you haven't done anything about bending wings on anybody else's car. And we are now going to use that to improve our car. Right? And that's all McLaren have been doing for the last 6 races. Right? Everybody else, especially Red Bull and Mercedes, had very bendable front wings. It's been noticeably getting bigger and bigger since the Monaco Grand Prix. So I'm just saying, I think McLaren just went, well, we'll play the game as well. Right? And if you notice, I don't know if you did notice, but the Red Bull front wing was bending a lot in the COTA Grand Prix, as well as the Williams, as well as the Mercedes. Right? So they've done nothing to change the front wings. All they've done is say, yeah, because everybody else will have to develop and spend money on a rear wing, we're just going to stop that. That's it. A new technical directive will stop that. And if we can get you to agree to it, then, that's how that goes. Exactly the same thing happened with Ferrari. They didn't want to go into an engine war. So they just banned Ferrari from using it. I think that's wrong because it wasn't against the rules. They shouldn't have had points taken away. But then this is Formula One, and there are biases against particular teams. We know that. And one of them seems to be Ferrari since Ben Sayam took over the FIA or became president. And first of all, it was Mercedes he was privileging, and then it became Red Bull. And then when Toto Wolff complained with the Massey thing, then it's been Red Bull ever since alone. So just saying, like, that's politics, nothing new in Formula One. I do want to get to Lucky, though. But do you want to just respond quickly? If
No, it's okay.
After that. Okay. Lucky?
Yeah, but sorry, who, where?
No, that's fine. Okay, so moving on. Thank you very much for that. That's the T-Tray experience. You heard it here first. It's a load of bollocks. And whether they were using or not is probably just to cover something that, the bad publicity that the bendy rear wing took or got, which again is against the spirit of the rules, no doubt, but certainly is within the legal regulations. Other teams, especially Mercedes, right? Back in the day, Mercedes said we're not going to have bendy wings at all then. And they were the first sort of team to go back to using rigid wings because, believe it or not, their main opponent, Red Bull, of course, have always had bendy wings. They've been using them and have never stopped using them. So I think Ferrari were trying to make Mercedes were trying to make a political point. And I think that's ended up what I think that's the end of what McLaren have been caught out on. They're trying to make a political point and at the same time finding that they've got such massive gains on their car from it. It's hard to think that the other teams didn't. But anyway,
Aston Martin should be worried because unless he comes up with new things, they're taking away all the toys from Adrian Newey. So
yeah, and they always do. I mean, that potentially that is 2 Adrian Newey toys that they take away. Right? Potentially, there's no proof though. There's absolutely no proof. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving onwards. Then, I think that is it. I mean, the gap in the championship now is down to 57. I think someone in our chat, Bob, will be extremely happy about that. It's pretty much 10 points a race now that he has to get. So, what can you say? Is it that? It's not even that, is it? We were on 19, so we've got. Is it 24 races?
Listen, I had my reservation on the fact. Well, I mean, I thought that Norris had a shot at it. I'm not at all confident anymore. After the last races,
100%.
He still needs to work in his starts. I think that's a given.
More than that as well.
Yeah, bloody hell.
His decision making is just. So we got five races, to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Next race, of course, is Mexico, and that is next week. We shall look forward to that. Another gripping track, not. But at least it's a compromised track, so should suit Ferrari. And we'll go from there, I guess.
Yeah.
There's one last thing to do, of course. Lucky,
well,
are you ready?
Before we go to the last thing, that was the 500th Grand Prix that was led by a Ferrari. That's the first, 500th Grand Prix that was led by a Ferrari. Their first 1-2, their third 1-2 in 14 years. It's been quite a while since Ferrari have taken the top 2 steps, but this year they seem to be doing pretty well. So congratulations, Ferrari, 1-2 at America.
Yeah, and 500, a name reminiscent, of course, of the Fiat. So there we go. Fiat 500.
What's it called? Tupelo?
See, that got a snuffle there, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a snuffle. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We got him.
I was just looking. I was looking for this one. I mean, let's not forget 1, 2, 3.
Was that Indianapolis, was it?
That's Daytona. It was the race after the Ford GT won at Le Mans.
67.
And so the next race Ferrari said, you know what, fuck it. We're racing Daytona and we're doing a 1-2-3. And this is exactly how they got at the end.
Yeah.
There you go, in your face.
Those
So yeah, Mr. Ford was not really happy about it, but yeah.
There you go. Okay, that's great. And now I'd like to pass you over for the last segment of the show. 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 10 minutes. Last segment of the show is it a myth or is it a quiz? And let me just play you the theme tune. Is it a myth? Is it a quiz? It's a quiz. It's a myth. It's a myth. It's a quiz. It's a quiz and a myth. Or is it a myth or is it a quiz, but not a myth or a quiz? Or a quiz and a myth.
Yeah, it's going to be a quiz, and then we're going to have a long view back to the past rather than a short view. So we're on to round 19, F1 Trivia Intercontinental Championships. Scores at the moment: Fab out in front with 11, Simon's 2 behind with 9, Bob's trailing a bit on 4, Avanti and Odin both sitting on 1 point each. Now, this week, we're going to be looking for the name of a particular driver. Okay? And I'm going to give you some clues.
Chuck Berry?
Chuck Berry wasn't a driver. He was a guitarist. Amongst other things.
Riding along my automobile.
Yeah, let's not get into what Chuck Berry used to like. So, we're going to be looking for the name of a particular driver. I'm going to give you some clues. The first one to get the name of the driver gets the point. Okay, so we'll keep going until somebody gets the name of the driver. Okay.
Ayrton Senna.
Right, that's Simos excluded from the competition this week, I think.
What? Damn, I thought that was a good guess. Well, if it's not Ayrton Senna, it's Michael Schumacher.
Okay, well, like Ayrton Senna, this driver, okay, is South American, and he actually is South American. He's not Central American, South American, like some people might think. Okay, this racer from South America was a world championship motorcyclist in the 350 class in 1975. So there's your first clue.
Oh, okay. I maybe know.
Okay, well,
is it Carlos Lavado?
It's not.
Fuck.
Oh, unlucky. That's you out.
Do you want to guess, Samus?
Well, no, if there's more clues, I'll take the extra clues. I don't fucking know.
You get the next turn at answering, okay?
Okay.
So this South American champion was a 1975 350 bike champion. He's from Venezuela.
Oh, can't remember. Is it Rodriguez?
It's not.
No, Rodriguez was Mexican.
Okay.
Okay, so he's Venezuelan. He was the 1975 350 world champion. He also competed in the 500s and got, I think, a total of 4 wins in his career in motorcycling. So, 350 champion from Venezuela, also a 500 GP winner.
Oh, is it?
It's actually Fabio's turn to guess.
Is it?
No. Is it?
Oh,
no,
I don't know.
I'm nothing.
Oh, Barry Rodriguez. I don't know.
No, it wasn't. He was from South Clapham or something like that. I think maybe in South America. You
Go
guys
ahead.
know this. You're gonna kick yourselves when you realize it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. Reutemann, maybe.
It's not Reutemann. No.
No, he's not from
His
Venezuela
Formula
either.
One is
it?
Formula...
Sorry. No, it can't be. No. So no. Yeah.
Jackie X.
No. I was thinking about Maldonado, but it can't be. It's too young.
Yeah, no, he's too young for that.
Okay.
He was before his Formula One days, he was a Formula 2 driver. Okay. And he managed to score 56 points in the 1982 Formula 2 World Champion, driving a March BMW.
So okay, I'm just saying the name, but it's not him. Was it Pache? Carlos Pache?
It wasn't Carlos Pache, no.
Yeah, I don't think it was either from Venezuela.
He died quite young, Carlos Pache, didn't you? In a helicopter crash, was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
On a car crash, I can't remember. He was a seriously good driver, Carlos Pache. Gordon Murray has so many good things to say about Carlos Pache, but we digress. Okay.
I have no idea.
I'm kidding. I got a blank on it.
Yeah, no idea.
Okay. He didn't, as I said, he didn't do too well in Formula One. He drove.
Yeah, that goes without saying. But yeah,
he drove with Theodore and Tolman in 1983 and 1984, respectively, and only managed to get 1 point, which was in US West Grand Prix, I think it was.
Oh, hold on a second. Was it? I mean, was it racing with Senna at the tournament?
No, it'd be before Senna's time.
Yeah,
Before time.
Probably Senna replaced him. I would have thought.
No, I think he was gone before
83. I think Dolman was in. But anyway.
His finishing record in Formula One wasn't that great, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't think of any other Venezuelan drivers, full stop.
Yeah.
I mean, let alone from 1983.
Okay, after Formula One, he did extremely well in touring cars, world touring cars, European touring cars, and
Cecotto.
He got it. Well done.
Wow, Cecotto. Oh my God.
Well done.
I thought he drove the Jackie Stewart car, wasn't it? What was it before it was the Jackie Stewart? The Lotus.
No, he didn't drive the Lotus. No.
The thing is that I was so fixed on Lavado that was the only name which stuck. I mean, while you were talking, I said, I mean, it has to be Lavado. Okay, it has to be Carlos. So I can't remember anybody else. It has to be Lavado. Yeah, Cecotto.
Yeah,
there you go.
I only knew him from. I didn't even recognize the name until he was in touring car. So there you go.
Yeah, I actually had a poster of Johnny Cecotto on my bedroom wall. That came from, I think, Bike Magazine.
Interesting.
Or Super Bike.
Yeah, look, nobody's going to judge you here. We don't kink shame. That's fine.
Yeah.
So that was extremely well done, Fab, which puts you on to 12, 3 points out in front of Simas, who's on 9. Okay, we're going to have a quick chat about sportsmanship. Okay.
Marcus Schumacher.
Yeah. I said about sportsmanship, not lack of sportsmanship. So we're going to talk about the 1956 Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Okay, a race where Fangio secured the world title, driving. Would it have been Lancia Ferrari then, or Ferrari, Fabio?
I don't know.
I think maybe the last year of Lancia Ferrari before Ferrari went out on his own. Okay, so Fangio, his car broke. One of the steering arms broke, and he retired into the pits. However, his teammate, whose name was where are we? Luigi Musso. Is that correct pronouncing?
How was it spelled?
Musso.
M like Milan.
Yeah.
Musso.
Musso. Okay, so Luigi Musso, who was Fangio's teammate, was told to give up his car to Fangio because in those days you could swap drivers. There was no constructors championship; it was all down to drivers. And if halfway through a race one car broke, the driver of that car could take over from another driver and go on to finish the race. However, Luigi Musso, who was the other Ferrari driver, refused to give the car to Fangio. Kept going, but his engine broke and he was out of the race. However, Peter Collins, British guy, who was also a Ferrari driver, came in for a routine pit stop, was told about Fangio's issue with his car, and Peter Collins got out of his car, gave it to Fangio, who then went on to finish second in the race. So the two of them shared the 6 points you got for second place in those days, which actually gave Fangio the title that year. Now, had Peter Collins not done that, there was a possibility that he could have gone on to become a world champion that year as well. So, Peter Collins, Ferrari driver, gave up for Fangio, his teammate, to win. So, there's a bit of sportsmanship for you. Now, during this race, a certain young Sterling Moss driving a Maserati, a works Maserati, ran out of fuel on the straight between Ascari chicane and the Parabolica. Now, behind him was a guy called Luigi Piotti. Does that sound right? Piotti?
Yeah, that sounds right. I know.
Okay. Who was driving a privateer Maserati, came upon Sterling Moss, got behind his Moss's Maserati, and pushed him with his car all the way into the pits, where Moss refueled, went back out into the race, and won. So that's sportsmanship like you never see in Formula One anymore. And that's today's story.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah, I guess it's a dying art. You get the feeling that there are certain gentleman drivers. I always get the feeling from Russell that he's a gentleman driver, not because he plays fair or anything, just because he just seems like a really posh guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you know
yeah.
who Russell reminds me of? Every time I see Russell,
it's not Kurt Russell, is it?
No, you'll get this reference, Samus. I don't think Fab will. But every time I see Russell, I think Milky Bar Kid.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Now, I don't know.
I think there probably are some gentleman drivers in Formula One at the moment. Leclerc, I think, would be a gentleman. Hamilton, Hamilton's like the guy that would drive a Jaguar. You know what I mean, Simus?
I do. Yeah. I do.
That's the kind of driver I think Hamilton.
Very Terry Thomas, you mean?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Absolute try.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Sportsmanship. What do you think? Formula One and sportsmanship?
I don't think they go hand in hand anymore.
I'm not really sure about that.
Okay, you're actually roboting for me. I don't know if you are for.
Oh, sorry.
Lucky.
We do here too.
You're still roboting.
Come through?
Yeah, you're roboting. 100%. You probably got your background doing. He's not helping. Anyway, we'll get to that. I'm going to end the show and say thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for being good sports out there, everybody, and listening to all this rubbish for an hour and whatever. And thank you, Lucky, for your quiz and myth or quiz section, as always. One of the highlights of the show. And thank you, everybody else, for tuning in. And we shall see you in 1 week's time for the, and I don't mean this in a rude way, the Mexico Grand Prix from South America. Yeah, you know it.